A long time ago, in the land of Canaan, there lived a young man named Joseph. He was one of 12 brothers, and his father, Jacob, loved him the most. Jacob even gave Joseph a special coat made of many colors. Joseph's brothers were jealous of him, especially because Joseph had dreams where he saw himself as a leader, and his brothers bowing down to him. One day, Joseph's brothers had had enough. They plotted to get rid of him. They threw him into a pit and later sold him to traders passing by. The traders took Joseph to Egypt, far away from his home. Can you imagine how scared and lonely Joseph must have felt? But even in this terrible situation, Joseph didn't give up. He trusted that God had a plan for his life. Joseph in Potiphar's house. In Egypt, Joseph was sold to a man named Potiphar, an important official in Pharaoh's palace. Joseph worked hard and always did his best. Potiphar noticed this and put Joseph in charge of his entire household. Things seemed to be going well for Joseph, until trouble came knocking. Potiphar's wife lied about Joseph, accusing him of something he didn't do. Poor Joseph. Potiphar believed his wife and sent Joseph to prison. It must have felt so unfair, but Joseph still didn't lose hope. He continued to trust God and worked hard, even in prison. Joseph in prison. In the dark and gloomy prison, Joseph stayed faithful. He helped the other prisoners and earned the respect of the prison warden, who put him in charge of other inmates. One day, two prisoners, Pharaoh's baker and cupbearer, had strange dreams. They were confused, but Joseph said, "God can help me interpret your dreams." Joseph explained their dreams, and everything happened exactly as he said. The cupbearer was restored to his job, but sadly, the baker's dream meant he would not survive. Joseph asked the cupbearer to remember him when he was free, but the man forgot Joseph for 2 whole years. Still, Joseph didn't lose faith. Joseph meets Pharaoh. 2 years later, Pharaoh had puzzling dreams. No one could explain what they meant. That's when the cupbearer remembered Joseph and told Pharaoh about him. Joseph was quickly brought out of prison to stand before Pharaoh. Pharaoh explained his dreams, and Joseph, with God's help, interpreted them. He said the dreams meant there would be 7 years of plenty, where the land would grow lots of food, followed by 7 years of famine. Joseph also suggested a plan: store up food during the good years to prepare for the bad years. Pharaoh was so impressed by Joseph's wisdom that he made him second in command over all of Egypt. Just like that, Joseph went from being a prisoner to a ruler. Isn't that amazing? Joseph saves many lives. Joseph's plan worked perfectly. During the years of plenty, they stored food, and during the famine, people from all over came to Egypt to buy grain. One day, Joseph's own brothers came to Egypt, not knowing the ruler they bowed before was their little brother. Joseph recognized them but didn't reveal himself right away. Eventually, Joseph told them who he was. His brothers were scared, thinking Joseph would punish them for selling him as a slave. But Joseph forgave them, saying, "What you meant for harm, God meant for good, to save many lives." He invited his whole family to live in Egypt, where they had plenty of food and a safe place to stay. The lesson from Joseph's story. Joseph's life teaches us that even when bad things happen, God can turn them into something good. Joseph stayed determined, worked hard, and trusted God through every challenge. In the end, he became a ruler, helped save countless lives, and reunited with his family. So remember, no matter how hard life gets, never give up. God always has a plan for you, just like he did for Joseph.